Nye the Bio Guy. Phil!
Well, hello boys and girls. Today we're going to talk about photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Let's start with the basics. We get the oxygen that we need from the air that we breathe. That's respiration. Cellular respiration is the process that releases energy by breaking down food molecules. Cellular respiration is the type of respiration that occurs in our cells. Our cells combine chemicals and the food that we eat with oxygen to store energy in another simple chemical called ATP. The formula for aerobic cellular respiration is C6H12O6, also known as glucose, plus 6O2 goes to 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus ATP, which is energy. ATP is produced in a multitude of ways during respiration. The least amount is produced during a process called glycolysis. Glycolysis is the process when a glucose molecule, a sugar, is broken down in half into two separate molecules. During this process, two pyruvate molecules are produced. Pyruvate is a chemical that provides energy to cells. Although this does create energy, it's not the best choice as it nets only 2 ATP. The next way that it's broken down with oxygen is through the Krebs cycle. However, to fully understand the Krebs cycle, we need to get a little background information on the structure of the mitochondria of a cell. The outer membrane is semi-permeable, meaning certain things can get in, and the fluid that fills the mitochondria is called the matrix. The Krebs cycle actually happens in the matrix and breaks pyruvate down into CO2, and that's again only 2 ATP. If you really want to make a lot of ATP, then electron transport chain is for you. It happens in the mitochondria again, but this time in the cristae of the mitochondria, which are like little folds in it. This is the most useful process of them all because between 29 and 32 ATP are created. In case there isn't oxygen, then anaerobic cellular respiration occurs, which means there is no oxygen. This is either through glycolysis or fermentation. We already learned about glycolysis, but let's talk fermentation. Fermentation occurs one of two ways. First is alcoholic fermentation, which is how wine or beer is produced, or lactic acid fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is when CO2 leaves pyruvate, leaving ethanol alcohol and aldehyde as byproducts, which NADH and NAD+ leave. During lactic acid fermentation, however, there is no CO2 and pyruvate leads to lactic acid, which causes muscle cramps. In the end, aerobic cellular respiration is much better because it produces up to 36 ATP as opposed to anaerobic producing 2. So now, let's look at the big picture! Picture. We humans aren't the only organisms on Earth. Another important process to gain energy is through photosynthesis for plants. Simply put, photosynthesis is the way that plants use energy from the sun to produce their food. The balanced equation for it is 6H2O plus 6CO2 goes through light, goes to glucose or C6H12O6 plus 6O2. Plants obtain their energy through sunlight and it transports through the body through a gas exchange. The gas exchange begins in the stoma, which are like little pores on a leaf where CO2 and O2 are absorbed into the plant. The guard cells are small cells that they're open and closed to allow the oxygen to travel through the area to get through the body of the plant. It travels through the plant thanks to the folium, which are like a tissue that transport the oxygen through the plant, or the bark, to the roots, where the starch is stored and oxygen is released. These gases are eliminated through the leaves as CO2, which contributes to the air we breathe. Without plants and photosynthesis, we wouldn't be here. ADP plus a phosphate plus food energy gives you ATP. Food energy is needed to force the third phosphate to bond. Since all phosphates have negative charges, it's harder to make them bond, thus more energy is needed. The ATP is then used for more energy and then converts back to ADP. Although these processes seem to be very different, they're actually directly connected. As we can see here, what we use to do cellular respiration, autotrophs make, and the exact opposite, what we make through cellular respiration is what the autotrophs use to use photosynthesis. So without us, they wouldn't be around, and without them, we wouldn't be around. Now it's time for Jill Earl, the Eco Girl.
Why, hello everybody! Today I'm going to tell you about the wonderfully awesomeness of the environment, what is destroying it, and how photosynthesis and cellular respiration play a role. Also, remember to recycle, because if you harm my environment in any way, I will find you and kill... Where were we? Oh yes. So first, the equation for photosynthesis, which is performed only by plants and autotrophs, is CO2 plus H2O plus energy from the sun gives you O2 plus sugar. The equation for cellular respiration, which is performed by both autotrophs and animals, is sugar plus O2, which gives you CO2 plus H2O plus energy. These two reactions are very closely related, as the process of photosynthesis takes the waste from cellular respiration, CO2, to make energy, while cellular respiration uses the waste from photosynthesis, O2, to make energy. The relationship between cellular respiration and photosynthesis is very beneficial and show a balance in the Earth's environment. Okay. When deforestation occurs and humans are cutting down / killing plants, they're prohibiting the CO2 that is used in plants to be used, therefore leaving more CO2 in the atmosphere, which contributes to global warming. Cellular respiration is given off by both plants and animals, and because CO2 is a waste product of cellular respiration and deforestation continues to occur, global warming is inevitable. This is why we should stop deforestation and take care of our environment. And might I add again, if you harm my environment in any way, I will track you down and your family and kill...
Well, that's all we have for today. Make sure you tune in for the next episode of Nye the Bio Guy, where we'll be talking about energy and ecosystems, where we'll have yet another special visit from Jill Earl, the Eco Girl. See you next time on Nye the Bio Guy.